So if you're applying for a work permit for Canada, then this is the document checklist that you need to look out for. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about Pakistan and India. What are the document requirements if you're applying from these two countries? So if you're from any other country, you need to go to the IRCC website. You need to look out for document checklist for work permits. Then the page will pop up and you'll enter your country and then you're good to go. Okay, so let's start with the first requirement, that is valid passport. So if you're applying from India, you need to provide original passport and photocopy of the biodata page and all the cancelled and expired documents as well. Okay, so I mean, this is for India. If you're from Pakistan, then you can basically include a copy of your current and previous passports, including the biographic information page and all the pages that are not blank, meaning they have some stamps or anything on them. Then you need to provide all those pages. Okay, so for India, original passport is a mandatory requirement. For Pakistan, because applications could take longer than 2 weeks, so you can provide, if you wish to, you can provide a copy. So when you are providing a copy, you must include all pages of your passports. Okay, all pages. You can't even leave the blank pages. Okay, so I mean, this is a requirement for I mean, this is an exemption, I would say, for Pakistan. And also when we talk about passports, then your passports must have at least one blank page, and it needs to stay valid until after you plan to return back to your country. For example, if you're applying for a work permit for 2 years, and you will show that you have a plan to return after 2 years, then for 2 years and a half your passport needs to stay valid. Okay, so this is something about the requirement. So if you include children, then they have their own passport, and you need to include that as well. So this was the first requirement about passports. Okay, and also know this, that Pakistan does not have a visa office, so these requirements are based on Abu Dhabi visa office, whereas India has visa offices in New Delhi, Chandigarh, and also the third one is let me just check, Bengaluru. Okay, so this was the first requirement. Now if you're from Pakistan and you are living in Gulf, then you need to provide Gulf residence visa. Okay, and apart from that, your employment reference letters on official company letterhead. Now this is a requirement for India and Pakistan both as well. Again, there's no change. Your employment experience in an occupation related to your proposed occupation in Canada. These reference letters will be for your past and present employers. Okay, and it should mention whether your employment was permanent, full-time, part-time, whatever. Then it should also list your responsibilities with complete name and contact details of the person who signed your employment reference letter. And also I mean, if you are from India, then there are additional requirements for your work experience, and these include copies of salary slips, your form 16, your bank statements, your appointment letters, and your relieving letters. Obviously, if you have them, then you should include them in your Pakistani application as well. Okay, and also if we talk about proof of education, then any certificate, diploma, degree you have, including the mark sheets, including the transcript, right? But Indian universities, they keep their transcripts. In Pakistan, universities give you their transcript. So I mean, you have to show the mark sheets as well along with the degrees. This is the proof of your post-secondary education. Okay, and secondary education is also included in this one if you're from Pakistan. Okay, so a complete copy of your educational qualifications, diplomas, degrees, and transcripts of record. Now I'm talking about Pakistan. Any document written in a language other than English or French, then you would need it translated, both for Pakistan and India. Then the next two requirements are only for Pakistan. It is not mentioned in the Indian requirements. So this one goes with your resume or your CV. Okay, you must include that. That should include your work and educational history. Then next up, you need original police certificates to be submitted with your work permit application. So if you've stayed in a country or in a different district in Pakistan for over 6 months, after you turned 18 or in the recent 10 years, then you need to provide all those original police clearance certificates. And obviously, it does not say as a requirement for Indian applicants, but obviously you should submit a PCC, because in India you just need one PCC for wherever you lived within India. So this is a luxury, so why not provide that? Next up, another requirement that is for both of these countries. These are the copies of your marriage certificates and birth certificates for all your children, all your accompanying dependents. Okay, right. So then for India, you need to provide family information form, that is IMM 5707. Now if a child is under 18 and traveling with one parent, then obviously you need consent and a copy of a valid official government document that shows the clearly visible signature of non-accompanying parent. Okay, so that would obviously be your passport. Okay, and this IMM 5707, it should be fully completed, signed and dated. Same for Pakistan as well. So these are the requirements for applying for a work permit. These are the documents that you need to have. Now, if you are an ICT candidate, intra-company transferee, then your employer needs to issue you a letter that why this transfer is necessary and how you meet the requirements, and evidence of relationship between the current employer and the employer in Canada. Okay, so if you are applying for a work permit for truck drivers, then your high school completion is required, your driver's license is required, a D740 is required if applicable, and your financial ability to support accompanying family members is required. And if you're a PNP nominee, then you need to provide PNP certificate along with the above documents. These are all, for example, truck drivers need to provide driving license, but they need to provide marriage certificate, child certificates, and the proof of education and proof of work experience, and also passports and all the other requirements. Okay, so if you are a visiting researcher, then your research proposal should outline the following: that the research is to be undertaken in Canada, what are your goals of research, and how you were chosen for your research, and what are the amount of and resources of any funding that you will receive for your research in Canada. Then if you are a media crew, then you need to provide full details of filming, including location, dates. I mean, if Shah Rukh Khan is shooting a film and you're an actor, then this is something you need to look out for. Then if you're a charitable worker, then your charity registration number of the employer in Canada, that needs to be provided. Okay, so these were the overview of the documents requirements for applicants from India and Canada, and similarly from other countries you will need that. So if you are applying for a live-in caregiver program, which is currently not open for overseas, then you need to provide your language proficiency as well. I mean, your IELTS result or French result for that matter. So with these words, this is Ali Iftikhar, and I'm hoping great things are coming your way.